Good afternoon, YouTube. Back again with another modification video. So the modification that I'm going to be doing this week is I'm going to be installing some fog lights to the older Super Meteor. So I thought about replacing the LED light with something aftermarket. However, I do think that this is a decent light for a stock OEM LED headlight. It is certainly one of the better headlights that I've had. However, excuse me. Busy here today on our road, apologies for that. Lots of plant vehicles going past. However, the actual connection plug, it's a new design. It's not like some of the connection plugs you get on a lot of the aftermarket headlights, and that would mean splicing into wires and recutting and soldering and all the rest of it, and that's too much work. So the headlight, it does have a decent throw of light. However, you always want a bit more light. So I've decided to put some spotlights on the bike because there's a plug in the headlight bowl, auxiliary plug, where you can basically just plug any auxiliary electricals into it. So I've decided to do that. And the fog lights I've chosen are the Royal Enfield ones for the Super Meteor. They're quite retro looking. They look very much like the bullet indicators. They're just a little bit bigger. So I think that they will suit the bike really, really well. So where do we put them? That's the thing. So a lot of people with the Royal Enfield fog lights, they already have the crash bars installed on. It's not just the Super Meteor, but any of the 350J series bikes, those sort of bikes, Meteors, Bullets, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, crash bars, which will sort of mount here, come around and go there. Now, I have thought about crash bars, and I know they are good and they serve a purpose and saves the bike if it has a tip, but I'm not really a fan of the crash bar look. I quite like the way that the bike looks at the moment, and I just think, for me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, for me crash bar would just be a little bit too much, because I've got a sissy bar on the back. It'll just start looking like the bike's got loads of scaffolding, and I think at the moment everything flows on the bike quite nicely. So I've decided not to install a crash bar. But what I have got, and I ordered this from Hitchcock's, I've got this bar here. This is from Jibby. It's for Jibby spotlights, but it's going to work, I'm hoping, with the Royal Enfield fog lights. So this bar, it mounts up underneath here like so, and then you can just hang your spotlights either side. So we're going to give that a go. So yeah, I'll take you in the house and just show you what I'm working with. Alrighty. So here we are, guys. We've got the mount there. We've got our fog lights, and these, when I say they're kind of retro looking, they look very much like the indicators, but they're just bigger. You've got various sizes of rubber inserts, and yeah, they're just basically going to kind of hang either side like so. So there we have it. We have that, and then we've got here, we've just got a wiring harness with your on and off button. So yeah, and just to give you a quick look, that's the instructions. So it's just 2 bolts underneath that fork brace there. So yeah, let's get it installed. Okay guys, so just following on, I've got this loosely assembled now onto the bar mount. I've used some of the rubbers that were supplied in the kit, and I just thought it'd be easier just to get it all lined up now before putting it on the bike and then having to do it on the bike. It's just a bit easier. So there we have it. There we go. So that'll be going on the bike in a minute. Now, couple of things. So with the Royal Enfield crash bars, they've got designated holes, which you'll see here, actually in the crash bar. And the idea is when you use the rubbers for your crash bar, you basically wrap it round with the hole, and then you can feed this wire through the hole. And obviously the wire gets hidden because it's actually in the crash bar, but obviously I can't do that. So what I've elected to do is I've actually trimmed the edge piece, just a little bit of the edge, and what that does, if you see in there, creates a little channel. So when I tighten these down, the wire won't get crushed, and as you can see, the wire comes out there, that little channel, so that wire won't get crushed. So again, being an ex-military man, improvise, adapt and overcome. So these are just on fairly loosely at the moment, and obviously I'll do final tightening on the bike and get them positioned. But yeah, just be mindful of that if you're not using the Royal Enfield crash bars. Yeah, you're going to need to find a little solution for how you're going to mount these rubbers. And I think they expect you to use these rubbers in the kit for your switch, which is that. It's not the best looking switch. It feels a bit cheap, but it'll do the job. But I've used, so with these you get various thicknesses. This is the thickest, then you get like a medium thickness one, then you get a very thin one. Now to make it work for me, I've had to use the medium and the thin, because that was just too thick to get around the bar. It you know, it doesn't bend well, and when it does, it misshapes. So I'm not using that one, which means I don't have anything for that. But I do, because through various quad locks and other mounting things, I've got these spare pieces lying around, and I'm sure one of those will fit when I come to actually mounting that onto my handlebar. So again, this is just plug and play. These two connect to these two here. That goes inside your headlight into the auxiliary port, and that's it. So the whole solution should be plug and play. So fingers crossed, let's go get this on the bike. Alrighty. All right guys, back again, and we now have the fog lights installed, and I think personally they've turned out rather nicely. I think it looks really quite good. I'm quite pleased with myself. So I went for the black lights, the OEM Royal Enfield fog lights, and I bought this bar from Hitchcock's. It's for the Super Meteor, but you're supposed to fit the Givy spotlights, and they kind of stick up here. But improvise, adapt, overcome. I've made these Royal Enfield lights fit. So there we go. So it's on nice and tight. I've tightened everything down. The rubber's there. Rubber's there from the side profile. I think they look pretty good, not too obtrusive. They kind of just blend in naturally with the bike. So yeah, pretty good. So all I've done is, I don't know if you see, I've just routed the cables from here. There's kind of a gap in the plate, through the plate, up through there, and straight into the headlight bowl. And that way, because it's all attached to the steering stem, there's no problem when you're doing lock to lock with the bike of anything getting pinched or snagged. So everything is in the headlight bowl. All I will say is, if you're going to do it like this and having everything in the headlight bowl, it gets pretty tight in there with space, and it took me a little while of finagling and teasing wires to actually get everything back in, and it's very, very tight and snug in there. So just be mindful of that. I think if you mount these on a crash bar, your wires are going to sort of come down the side and up under the tank and stuff, so you're not going to have that issue, but it can be done because I've done it. So there we go. So I suppose you want to see what they look like on. So just before we do that, there's the switch. I'll be honest with you, I like the lights. The lights are cool, but this switch is a bit shit. It's the seals there, you know, are not brilliant. It's just sort of 2 screws. I've got a little bit of rubber underneath. I mean, it looks all right, but it would have been nicer to have a nicer switch that doesn't, I mean, look at that, it sticks out like an inch. But yeah, so that's that. And then you just feed your wire down through, yeah, just cable tie with the OEM rubber ties here, and I've just put a cable tie down there. But yeah, it's all good. I haven't been for a ride yet because I've just been installing this all afternoon. It's not tricky to do. It's just a bit finicky with wires and stuff. And if you did like I did, where everything's in the headlight bowl, you just got to take your time and stuff like that. But it's not difficult to do. It's literally plug and play. There's a red little plug inside the headlight bucket with a black cap on. Just remove that, plug your lights in, and then just plug your socket from your lights in, and then you've got these little bullet connectors for the actual lights. Simple, really. Right, so we need to have the bike running. So just with the headlight running, and then there we go. It's very simple, on and off. I don't want anything flashing or anything like that, so yeah, just a bit more visibility for me, and I think they look pretty cool. What I will do is I'll try and do a video at night just to show you the brightness, but that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. There we have it. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio. Bye bye.